Mr. Speaker, I guess at this point in time the question really has to be asked, what words are left? We have libraries and libraries and libraries worth of evidence and research and data that tells us that what is happening in Palestine and has been happening for the last 76 years is ethnic cleansing. It is apartheid. It is genocide. And then there are the live streams that are now being delivered to all of our cell phones 24/7 over the last better part of 2 years. Mr. Speaker, my question for this place is, what the hell is the point of our jobs? Because so far all I have heard from contributions is the blame game. New Zealanders, Mr. Speaker, the world, Mr. Speaker, deserves so much better than that. We hear from members of the government and from the Prime Minister in response to our questions today that this is all just a matter of strongly held views, apparently on both sides. But, Mr. Speaker, genocide is a fact, not a feeling. Omar Bartov, a professor of Holocaust and genocide studies at Brown University, says, and I quote, "My inescapable conclusion has become that Israel is committing genocide against the Palestinian people. Having grown up in a Zionist home, lived the first half of my life in Israel, served in the IDF as a soldier and officer, and spent most of my career researching and writing on war crimes and the Holocaust, this was a painful conclusion to reach, and one that I resisted as long as I could. But I have been teaching classes on genocide for a quarter of a century. I can recognise one when I see one." Mr. Speaker, we asked the Prime Minister today what the harm could possibly be of recognising in the most basic sense Palestinian statehood. And frankly, Mr. Speaker, he could not answer the question. Instead, in the face of 500,000 people being consciously and intentionally starved to death after being mercilessly carpet-bombed and sniped as they line up for food aid, the Prime Minister decided to appeal once again to Hamas. In the face of innocent people being slaughtered, he appealed to, but what about the terrorist organisation? So, Mr. Speaker, to use that rationale and to use that logic in response, this government is willing so far to seemingly only recognise one of the two states and the two-state solution that is supposedly arguing for. Yet it is not willing to apply the same rationale with regard to terroristic violence, the likes of the genocidal campaign which Israel and the IDF is currently raining down on the Palestinian people. How is that not the basis for the same questions to be asked about the statehood of Israel? Mr. Speaker, then there's just the bald-faced facts. We are a laggard, we are an outlier, and it is not only appalling in the face of this genocide and of the merciless slaughter of these innocent people after having been made refugees in their own land, but we are one of the very few countries in the world who so far refuse to acknowledge the absolute bare minimum. 146 UN member states currently recognise Palestinian statehood. That is 3/4 of the United Nations membership. And so far over the last few weeks, we have seen that the United Kingdom, Canada, France and Australia have all moved to commit their intent. But so far, all our government can seem to do is commit to a process. Mr. Speaker, it utterly beggars belief. Human rights should not be conditional. We don't get human rights because somebody else decides that we are worthy, but we get them because we are human. The best way to lose your own human rights is to care about them only when it impacts and affects you. But, Mr. Speaker, we have so much further to go than merely recognising the statehood of Palestine as we should have done 76 years ago. We can and we must uphold the Genocide Convention, which means doing everything that we can to prevent a genocide before it occurs. So, Mr. Speaker, I will reiterate my call for the government to pick up our unlawful occupation of Palestine sanctions bill and to sanction Israel for its war crimes. If we find 6 of 68 government MPs with a spine we can stand on the right side of history.
That is completely unacceptable to make that statement. Withdraw it and apologise.
No.
Then leave the House for the rest of the week.
Happily.